will not. All right, welcome to the show, everybody. It is Tuesday Night Football Roundtable. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and notify for all our latest content and stupid discussions. I'm on detox, so I probably won't be as rude to everybody as I normally am, but that's okay. So, David, Eric, KD, how you all doing? It's been a long time since we've seen you, KD. Anyone?
I was going to, KD, you go first.
KD, go ahead. He gave you the intro, man.
My bad. I didn't know I was going first. I'm not used to this. So yeah, man. Hey, look, I've been missing this particular moment, these type of moments to sit there and talk ball with you guys. But I've been out, enjoying our season that we had at Air Academy High School. Unfortunately, we didn't go far in the playoffs, but we made the playoffs 2 times in the last 15 years. Of course, I wasn't here all 15 years, obviously, but it was a big deal for these kids, and hopefully we can grow on that. So I wasn't off screwing around like some of the co-hosts here on this panel. Oh, I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I need to go get this. I need to go get that. So I was actually gainfully employed being away. So, but yeah, hey, I missed you guys. And Eric, no crap talking about the Ravens tonight. I'm here in defense, baby.
All right. Well, Metro, you go. How you doing?
So, number one, I am sleepy, but gainfully employed. I am gainfully employed. It never ends, right? So our season ended a couple weeks ago, and we're already building for the 2025 season. And I am one of those brave guys that gets up at 5:30 in the morning and goes to early morning weights and then goes to the afternoon weights. But I am incredibly sleepy because there's only so many miles you can put on a Maserati.
Ooh, hey, David, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm just making this disclaimer right now. We don't talk politics on this show, correct? But I do want to say one thing. We do have somebody who has been a guest on this show. Sarah McGee is running for the 132nd Congressional District in Texas. So I don't care what your politics is. I don't care what your beliefs are. Go out, support her, and give her a shout out because that takes a lot of guts to do that. For whatever you believe in, congratulations, Sarah, and I wish you the best of luck. Anyway, other than that, I do want to say.
So like a week late, isn't it, dude? Shouldn't have been saying that last week.
No, she's running for 24. But anyway, yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, hey, what's up, Nick? But like I said, I just want to say it's good to have most of the crew back. Jeffrey's in Georgia. I think he said he was going to try to jump on tonight. We got a lot to talk about. Sean, I'm going to send it back to you. But remember one thing, I am Mr. 12-2 this week. So go ahead, Sean.
Oh, dear God. We're going to get into that later. We're going to have to hear a lot about that. Anyway, so kind of the only news that I really came across that was worth talking about is after the Chicago debacle, getting their asses handed to them by the Patriots, they fired the offensive coordinator. In my opinion, I don't think that was enough. I think they needed to start at the head and then work down. But we're going to go back to KD because KD hasn't been here. I'm going to keep kind of feeding him tonight. KD, what are your thoughts about that? They fired the offensive coordinator. Do you think it was enough or they had to do more?
Here's the only reason why I wouldn't have done it. It would have undone most of the success you had. However, after looking at the situation a little bit further, he has to go. There is no kind of grooming, protecting of the quarterback. And I'm not talking about an offensive line standpoint. I'm talking about, hey, you should be able to give your quarterback some layup type of throws. You should be able to have a complimentary run game to help that rookie out because you have a complimentary defense for him, but you don't have anything else. As a matter of fact, we on this panel listed Chicago Bears as having a top 5 wide receiver core coming in. Where has that all gone? And it's not like these guys have been placed on the IR, season-ending injury. You got Keenan Allen back, and just these guys are there, but there's basically just space heaters right now. And that for me that's a travesty because even if you say, okay, look, we can't throw the deep ball, you should be able to get some short intermediate throws with those guys on the team, and then you have a decent run game. I didn't like Khalil Herbert getting traded, but it is what it is. I still think Chicago Bears could have had a running back by committee type of running game, and then you could turn around and supplement that with the receiving core that they had. Having this kid drop back and have him try and go through 3 or 4 reads, it's just not good for a rookie because they're going to do what they're doing in college. And it's cool when you have the more dominant offensive line, but that's not the case now.
Katie, let me respond to you because I don't know if you caught the show, but 2 weeks ago I went to the Cardinals Bears game, and I'll tell you what. This offseason, Caleb Williams really needs to go to a quarterback. He has to be coached in the offseason. The thing that I noticed about Caleb Williams, more so than anything, is, I think a short intermittent pass game would help him immensely to get his confidence, especially early in the game, to get him to release the ball early. The problem that I see with Caleb Williams, at least at this point, is I think his biggest struggle is not being able to throw open a wide receiver, not having that confidence to do that. In college, it's a lot different when you got a receiver who's running 2 yards open on a defensive back. In the NFL, you got a short window where you got to hit that wide receiver. You got to throw with anticipation, and I think that's where he's struggling right now. And I don't think he has the confidence. I think because of his struggles, I think he doesn't have the confidence to throw the jump balls to Roman Duzig and Keenan Allen and trust DJ Moore to run under the ball into a spot. And so I think there's going to have to be a lot of outside coaching for Caleb Williams.
But even then though, you don't learn that within year one.
Oh, no, I mean? I agree.
My issue is his footwork. So his footwork is lacking. Like no matter what we are talking about at any level, a slant is at best 1-step drop. You got to post, you got to dig. These are certain steps that you're taking as a quarterback to get the ball out of there. It doesn't even look like he's attempting to do that.
Right.
We coming back. We only have 2 hands on the ball. How are we going to be ready to throw it?
Can I just ask you something? To me, it looks like he's always trying to make the big play. He's trying to hold on to that ball, scramble out of the pocket, use his legs and use his creativity to have to score or get huge chunk yards on every play, as opposed to learning how to methodically move down the field, take what a defense gives you. Do you see some of that in him? Because that's what I kind of notice about what he's doing.
I wouldn't even call it the backyard. The big playability. I think it's more of a backyard type of deal. Hey, I've always been the guy. I've always done this, and this is what's going to get me by. Versus having a proper quarterback coach, no matter if it was an OC or an actual quarterbacks coach, and say, hey, look, this is what you must do. You have to get this foundation. Once you get the foundation, if you want to start add to that and add living with some of the stuff you do, that's 100% fine if I'm okay with that. But from you doing that, if you start to create more fumbles, I'm going to tell you, hey, as soon as you come from underneath the center, 2 hands on the ball. They have to be. Because if not, now we're talking about teams knowing what you're going to be doing, and they're going to send pressure toward that particular hand that you're holding the ball in.
Sure. Eric, you got anything to add?
I read today that they're wanting to replace some of the Bears players wanted Tyson Badgett to come in and replace Caleb Williams. Yeah, so when it comes to teams that are poorly run, Cleveland, Chicago, some of these teams, history just kind of the Jets. Yeah, the Jets. The Brown Browns, not the purple Browns, but the Brown Browns. Those teams, they just seem to continuously make bad decisions and bad things happen to them because there's got to be something organizationally wrong that hasn't been addressed that continues to happen. And then you have a young quarterback who the weight of the world's placed on his shoulders. That's a lot of pressure. Maybe doesn't have the proper support, didn't have time to develop, didn't have time to sit there and learn. So maybe a year in that situation would have been better for him to kind of get up to speed. He has some success early on, then he falls on his face, and now they fire the office coordinator. I mean, it sounds like an organizational mess that I've heard before.
Can I ask you guys a question? Just out of
Go ahead.
I'll ask you, and then Katie can. It really seems funny the last couple of years with number 1 overall picks, quarterbacks. It always seems that because they're the number 1 pick, they come in with so much pressure. And it doesn't matter what organization, but again, we have to look at the fact that when you're the number 1 pick, you are going to an organization that's in disarray to begin with, because if you weren't going to be the number 1 pick. But it just seems to me, I think the amount of pressure on that number 1 guy is so intense. You look at who was it last year? Who was number 1 last year? I forget who was the number 1 quarterback. Oh, Bryce Young. Number 1 quarterback last year, went to Carolina, a crappy organization, obviously. CJ Stroud, yeah, he was the number 2 pick, but he didn't go in with the expectation that a number 1 guy had. This year, the same thing. You have Caleb Williams going to Chicago. All the expectation and all the pressures on Caleb, and Jaden Daniels goes to Washington with no expectation. I think everybody expects these individual players to take a franchise that is just god awful and turn them completely around. And, it's all the players' fault when that organization is bad. It's just a bad organization.
Dave, you said what I said in so many beautiful words.
Thank you.
The only reason why I see what you're saying, and yes, there's huge pressure. But if Jaden Daniels was in Chicago right now, I don't think they'd be they'd be the same team. I think they would definitely be a better team. Caleb Williams he's still playing a college game in a pro world. He's used to running around where he could run around for 30 seconds and then huck the ball down the field. That's still the game he plays. He doesn't throw anything away.
The difference. Yeah, Sean, real quick. I agree with you 100%. And you made that point. So, that's the difference. But Jaden Daniels, that was the first chance I've gotten to watch him Sunday. And I watched what Washington did versus what they expect Chicago to do. So Caleb's out there struggling. You said it, because he has to run around 30 seconds. It's a bad play design. And he has to make something happen because it breaks down. And he's not over athletic against linebackers. He can't outrun them. He can't shrug them off like he did at USC. This isn't the Pac-12. Whereas Jaden Daniels, you know what they did with Daniels a lot? They didn't put Daniels in bad situations. They continually gave him RPOs, gave him easy reads, ran the ball, and played to his strengths without having to put him at risk. He's not in turnover risk because they're not calling plays to put him at risk. They protect him a lot, and they happen to be damn good. So what it comes down to is organizationally, it's the expectation of, okay, we have a quarterback that's protect him, that's call good plays, that's develop a run game, short dump offs to Austin Eckler, run the ball on 3rd and 1. Really simple things to help him out. Whereas Williams, the pressure's all on him. And like, I know you guys love the receiver core, but some of those guys are old as shit and their time has come. Now, Romo Dunze is good, but like, I just think ideally Badgett should be the guy the rest of the year. Sit him down, let him learn, calm him down, get 3-step drops, get quick reads, teach him how to get rid of the ball quick, and take the pressure off him, because I mean this is too much for him right now. It's going to ruin him. It's going to be another Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf story, because they're going to ruin him and they're going to ruin his confidence.
Sure.
So KD.
This is what I don't understand, right? That organization has been given quarterbacks who they thought were going to be either good or decent or some of that nature, right? And they haven't treated either one of them different. It's all been the same. You know, whether it be Trubisky, whether it be Fields, it's all been the same. Hey, go out there and do what you do, and we'll live with whatever the results are, right? If you knew, hey, okay, look, I'm going to be set up to probably take the number 1 overall pick. Right then and there, I'm looking for a good to great OC, not a guy. Eberflus hasn't proven anywhere he's been that he is a quarterback developer. He hasn't. So again, with that being said, hey, okay, he doesn't know, hey, okay, look, I don't need to call these 5-step drops when I know my quarterback is not going to take it. I need to call something 3-step drop, 1-step drop, something of that nature. I need to get the ball out of his hands quick. If we're keeping the ball in his hands more than 2.7 seconds or more, then guess what? It's probably not going to be good, because what is he going to do? He's going to revert back to what he knows. What he knows is scramble around, do what he do, make time, wait for a breakdown, and then throw the ball to the easiest possible throw. You don't have that time, because again, when you break down and you move around like that, by the time you do that, you got 3 guys chasing you. All 3 of them not going to miss. They're just not. Okay, so at some point you're going to take sacks. Once you start to take those sacks, then that's where the confidence goes away, right? Because now I'm in this change. Instead of a 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 7 or 2nd and 3, it's now a 2nd and 18 or 2nd and 22. Now that we don't have plays that are complements to try and get that type of yardage on 1st down. I mean, on 2nd down or 3rd down, you put us behind the sticks. So it's pretty easy for the defense to play defense if I'm behind the sticks.
Right. And to Eric's point, I agree, because what you're going to do is, I mean, Caleb Williams has the opportunity to be a good quarterback. But again, I think what happens is you go to an organization like Chicago, and you see it with Justin Fields. I mean, Fields went to Pittsburgh. He won games, but he was the same quarterback that he was in Chicago, because over the 4 years he was in Chicago, he developed these habits. He went to a place where they were trying to teach him or trying to break him of those habits and those patterns. But again, in Pittsburgh, Justin Fields was a 1-read quarterback and then dropped the ball and run. He did not. He was in Chicago. He was a 1-read quarterback, and if that's not there, I'm going to run. And they tried to coach that out of him. And if Chicago does not get a proven offensive coordinator who can take their quarterback, do the things that they have to do to develop a good quarterback, you're going to waste a Caleb Williams who's going to spend his first 4 or 5 years in Chicago and go to another team and be a marginal backup quarterback, because the stuff that he will learn inside of there, what the heck is that?
Sorry, this is just the playoff picture for the NFC. The Bears are only a game out of playoff contention.
Right. Well, the way they're playing, I think the Cowboys can still catch them, if that gives you any confidence in the Bears. So, that being said, the Bears really need to do an introspective look in their organization and decide what they want to be. And that's just how I know Cardinals are in 4th, Nick.
That's very unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the games of last week. One sloppy ass game was Sunday Night Football. That was brutal to watch. Detroit at Houston. Detroit ended up pulling it out. Houston missing that field goal at the end, but Jared Goff throws 5 picks, and we're all talking. He's thrown. He hasn't thrown any completions yet this year. Well, he made up for it in the game pretty much. But that was just ugly. Did it shake anyone's faith in the Lions, or did it, make you feel better about the Lions for them pulling that out?
I don't think it shakes the faith in the Lions so much. Look at every teams are going to have bad games. Okay, nobody goes undefeated. Okay, and the fact that the Lions, after 5 turnovers, were still able to find a way to win the game, okay, is impressive. The fact that they did it on a Houston team that was missing, 2 integral parts of their offense in Diggs and Nico Collins, had they been there, would it have been that close? I don't know. But at the end of the day, you play with the guys that are on your roster, and they overcame the offensive mistakes. The defense was able to capitalize on some of CJ Stroud's mistakes, and they were able to come away with a victory. And I guess that's all that matters at the end of the day. It doesn't always have to look pretty. It doesn't always have to be flawless. I mean, even the best teams, even the undefeated Chiefs looked pretty crappy against Denver, who everybody says against a rookie Bo Nix. The defense kept them in that game. So teams are going to have bad games. The fact that they were able to overcome the bad games, it does restore my faith in the Lions that maybe they are as good as they think they are because they can overcome the mistakes. It was just a sloppy game.
KD.
Look, I knew it was going to be a game for, quarterbacks to struggle. This always happens. There's always 1 or 2 games, during the MVP season or MVP type season where people are going to point at those particular games. This was 2 games of that. It was equivalent to it. I had Goff in consideration for MVP. He will never be there again this year. I don't care if he throws an 8 touchdown, no interception game. He is not going to be in the MVP running whatsoever. And here's the reason why. It already was an issue with him lacking touchdowns, right? Because he had 14, I want to say last week, or either somewhere along that. He had somewhere really low along those lines. So already people were second guessing, hey, putting him in the discussion because of that. And then you turn around and go out and do this. It was to the point to where it was just like, all right, people were just trying to go, hey, look, I'm not watching the rest of the game. I'm going to bed. The other part of that to me is the Texans are banged up defensively, and they were still able to force you into those type of turnovers. And granted, some of them wasn't his fault. The tip ball in the air or whatever it may be, I got it. I'll never really chastise a quarterback for that. But the out route with Carlton Davis picking that one off, the deep throw where he doesn't see how they're bracketing the receiver. Those two, he definitely got to wear those 2. So again, if he wants to get back into the MVP discussion, he really got to go lights out for these these last 7 games or so. Because I'm sorry, that particular performance for me took him out of the MVP discussion altogether.
So real quick, I wanted to respond to Nick and Katie. He's out of the MVP conversation because he's not very good. He's always been a little overrated. But to be honest with you, but here's the truth. Katie talks about games that'll take quarterbacks out of MVP contention. He's got one coming up Sunday. As for Nick, so Nick, I think Kyler Murray is in the MVP discussion because he's taking a team that we all thought was terrible. He's playing really, really good football, smart football. And it's amazing. No, this guy deserves credit. There is a new Call of Duty out and he's playing super well. Ideally, this guy is he's maturing into the quarterback, which is why, just so you know, eventually our From the Couch Sports Talk Radio, our group will get together, and where we'll meet will be his statue in Oklahoma. We've talked about this for a long time. So, ideally, just Kyler Murray MVP discussion, very plausible, Nick, because as to KD's point, quarterbacks have bad games that'll take them out of the MVP discussion, and his guy has one coming up Sunday. So
I'm sorry. I'm going to interject, and I'll let KD interject because I just got to tell you right now. Kyler Murray's had about 3 games that would maybe even remotely consider to put him in the conversation, and really only 2. And that was last week and week 1 against Buffalo. He didn't really do much of anything against Chicago. That was all on the ground. I was at the game, and both those quarterbacks looked like they were coming out of high school, in all honesty. Kyler Murray had Trey McBride in the back of the end zone, couldn't see over his offensive line to throw the ball to him. Had to scramble outside because he couldn't see him, and he was wide open. It was hysterical. We were all laughing. But besides that, yes, Arizona is overperforming in an underperforming NFC West. Okay, so you got to remember, you're overperforming if in all things being equal, if the San Francisco 49ers were healthy, they wouldn't even be close. I mean, the 4-5 record or 5-5 record that Arizona has would maybe have them at the 6th wild card spot.
Hey, Dave, what is it with you guys and hypotheticals?
Because I'm telling, I was being precise about Kyler Murray in the 2 games that he had that he really looked MVP-ish. The rest of them are not. The hypothetical is, don't even get me started on your hypothetical crap. I could bring you out a freaking 18-page spreadsheet of your hypothetical shit. But that being said, I'm just looking at it, and Katie, I'll let you answer and respond to Eric because he did call you up by name. So, Katie, I'll let you talk. I'm just going by what I saw. So,
first off, don't try and twist my words. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's the deal, right? I also said he had Jared Goff has 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Kyler Murray has neither one right now. What would make him the MVP in a consideration? Let's just say number 5 over a quarterback like Joe Burrow.
I'm pulling up his stats right now, but ideally, listen real quick. What would make Lamar Jackson the MVP over Josh Allen last year?
No, don't do this. Don't do this. I asked you about 2 guys, not Lamar Jackson. You never named anything. Don't deflect. People are watching you being
weighty moment.
It's not a weighty moment. I'm asking you about Joe Burrow and Kyler Murray. Why are we talking about Lamar Jackson? I asked you that question.
Because I'm comparing a situation. Last year,
you're not.
Josh Allen had a very similar situation, outperformed Lamar Jackson in every statistical category except wins.
And turnovers.
And turnovers.
You're still taking something that already happened. I asked you about right here, right now. You're going back. Oh man. Oh, well, let's talk about 2019 too, man. Let's talk about what are you doing? I asked you about 2 people not named Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, and you deflected. Like, can you answer the question?
I did not deflect. I compared the situation.
Watch this. Hot Pockets is still in the chat. Hot Pockets, did you not hear me ask this man, what is the difference between Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow? This man alluded and asked me about damn Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Not even from this year. He asked me from last year. What are we talking about?
Give me a second.
What are we talking about? I'm asking a simple question. What would make Kyler Murray an MVP over the likes of Joe Burrow?
I got you 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, in a 6, or what are they, 5-4, 6-4?
Right.
I mean,
They're 5-5.
Are they 5? Okay, he took a 5-5 team that's supposed to be 2-7. And ideally,
wow.
Wait,
And
who
wow.
said they were supposed to be two wins?
he's scoring touchdowns.
Oh,
not
wow. So you're
he's
going
on
to base
pace to have the same amount of touchdowns as the MVP last year passing.
what are you talking about?
Oh my God, we're going to have to move on here,
The
gentlemen,
MVP,
because
the MVP last year had 29 total touchdowns. This kid has how many? How many does he have? He has 29. He has 29 right now.
12 passing and a couple rushing. So he's got, I believe, 14. So he's almost there, halfway.
You just said you don't like hypotheticals. You just did it right now. You just did it.
No, I'm comparing where he's at.
He does not have 29 touchdowns. You just literally did it right now. Hypothetical.
Halfway through the season.
Here's the reality. Joe Burrow has 24. Joe Burrow has 24 touchdowns.
So here's the way I'm going to end this debate. I'm going to end this debate real quick because this is the MVP race right now. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, and then put in whoever the hell you want. You can put your fingers down, but that's the way it is right now. That's the way it is right now. It's not Russell Wilson, so you can just go.
It will be. We got time.
He almost has Kenny Pickett numbers from last year in 3 games.
It will not.
We got time.
Throwing 2 touchdowns and 226 yards is not going to get you the MVP. Sorry.
30 points a game, boys.
Yeah, Buffalo scored 30 points in 7 games out of their 10, and I don't give a shit. I'm just telling you what my facts are, and that's the truth. That's not an exaggeration or a hypothetical. And
all right, I am sure that our fans out there are tired of looking at the bald spot on my head because
go ahead, Sean.
Between Katie's eyes rolling and he's like, "Child, please," and my bald spot. I know this does not make for good viewing. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Denver at Kansas City. Now, this game, I as I'm watching, I'm going, "Oh my God, this is Kansas City's trap game." Like they're at home. Taylor Swift is there. They should be destroying this. But it all came down to, at the end, unfortunately, a blocked field goal.
I am going to tell you right now, Denver is a sneaky good team. Their defense is rock ass solid. Yes, it's a shame that they have a rookie quarterback and their receiving core is a little, suspect outside of, Cortland Sutton. But if they had a couple more weapons offensively, that team their defense is playing some of the best defense in football. It just goes unnoticed because of where they are, who they're behind. But that team is playing good football. And I'll be honest with you. This is the reason I think they lost personally. And it really made no sense to me. And when they did it, I was like really perplexed because the play before they downed the ball and called timeout to kick the field goal, they had the ball on the left hash mark. And Bo Nix took the snap and moved all the way to the right hash mark and down the ball. So they set the ball up there to the center of the field when if you want to block a field goal and the kicker has to kick it going across, you can power the line and bring all your guys from one side to collapse that line. I thought that was the biggest blunder. Otherwise, Kansas City is now 9-1.
All right, well, we're going to send that off to Sean Payton. We'll take that clip, and maybe he can learn from it.
Go ahead, Eric. I'll let you speak next.
I don't have much to say.
KD, you have anything to say about the Denver KC game? Then speak, please. You're still muted.
Let me see if I can unmute you. I can't because you muted yourself.
He's so frustrated.
There you go, Katie. Oh, no, you're not. No. That's Eric. Hold on.
He's got something going on.
He's trying to get his mouse to work.
Hey, Kansas City got lucky. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Control D.
No, we're not going to say Kansas City got lucky. Here's the reality. That was on tape. That particular number 54 was their weak link. That was on tape. They overloaded it to that side. That was on tape. That's not lucky. Here's where it went wrong. You remember in the second quarter, Denver has the ball. They're up, I think, 4 points or 3 points. If Cortland Sutton catches that ball on, I think it was a 3rd and 13 or whatever, he was clearly past the first down marker. They get points. They get a touchdown probably. That's the difference in the game. Right then, you gave the ball back to Kansas City. No matter if they scored or not, you kept it a one-possession game.
Mm-hmm.
When you kept it a one-possession game, that didn't allow Kansas City didn't panic whatsoever because they already took your best points. They was down 14-0. They came back and they made it 3 points or 4 points. They was like, hey, we good to go. This is their best punch. You had a chance to hit them again, and you didn't. So I think that was more pivotal than the actual block itself. Now, the block itself, you got to fix that because if not, if you come down to a situation, somebody's going to do that again. And the biggest issue is those guys are absorbing people instead of punching out and going forward. If everybody knows on special teams, you don't go backwards. If you go backwards, you run the risk of either getting ran over or pushed into the operation itself. You just can't do that.
All right.
To be fair, I didn't have something to say, but I do now. All those things had to happen for Kansas City to win, and there were unfortunate things that happened in the game. That probably in a normal game, Cortland Sutton makes that play. So yeah, they are extremely fortunate, and which means lucky. So yes, they did get lucky that Denver didn't convert on the opportunities they had to win the game. So they were lucky.
All right, so let's move on to the next game. Obviously, Eric's going to start off with this one. We're going to talk Pittsburgh, Washington. It was a good game. So, Eric, give us a rundown on that one.
The Steelers got lucky. But, I mean, ideally, it was skilled luck. Number one, ideally, when you catch a football and you're coming back for the football, you don't want to go backwards with it. You want to go forwards with it. That was the difference of the game, how he caught the ball. But, ideally, Russell Wilson in his snap count was brilliant. Nobody will give him credit, but on 4th and 1, he got that guy to jump. And that I sent you that clip, Sean. That may have been the clip of the year. It was absolutely hilarious. So it was funny. It's funny. It was funny.
The only thing I'm going to say is that defensive guy was an idiot. You knew he was just trying to draw you off sides.
And he did it.
Hold on, Sean. I don't want to cut you off. It's a doggone rookie. It was a doggone rookie. Stop. It was a rookie from Illinois. It was a rookie from Illinois. His biggest game was probably a blowout game against Ohio State in his whole collegiate career. Stop it. It happened or whatever. It's not some God's gift play for the universe from the Pittsburgh Steelers, a guy jumping on sides. Stop.
Hey, I will tell everybody, I'll spend my time telling everybody that KD is extremely hostile because his team is 1-7 in the last 8 games.
No, that play has happened many times in the NFL. It's happened many times.
Listen, Katie, I love you, my friend, and I cannot wait for
it's the attitude that Pittsburgh invented the drawing the defender offside. It's happened
he was in the game on 4th and 1 in the
it's like
on a 7-2 team. I mean, he's in that position on a 7-2 team at the end of the game. So I mean, he has to be somewhat skilled enough to go out there and be on a 7-2 team. They're not 2-7.
Sure.
But, ideally, give Russ credit. He made some clutch throws. Like Mark Schlereth has said, he's kind of becoming a guy in weighty moments that can be counted on to make big plays happen.
Here we go, the weighty moment.
The throw, backpedaling to Mike Williams, the guy's been there a couple days. He couldn't have placed it in his hands better. It was like quads coming down in his hands.
And it was a great catch that Mike Williams almost dropped.
Russell Wilson throws the best deep ball in the NFL right now.
That wasn't the best deep ball. The thing was wobbling, and it almost went right through Mike Williams' arms. It almost went right through his arms. The thing was coming down.
Hold on.
Why are we hating for it?
Nobody's hating. You won the game, E. You won the game, but let's not act like it was fucking Picasso work. It wasn't.
No, but
if Zach Ertz remember where the fuck the football is going, he falls backwards instead of trying to come
and they win
forward.
the game. Yeah, but listen, ideally, when you can
Now,
win,
but listen, okay, go ahead.
when you can win a game not at your best, like IU did.
Yes,
when you win a
absolutely,
game
you
not at
could.
your best.
But what you're doing is you're trying to discredit the Washington Commanders with nearly taking you to your brink.
Okay, but they didn't, and we ended up winning because of clutch plays. And
You're right.
IU,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now. We'll go back to Kansas City. They are the luckiest 10-0 team because they played like they should be 3-7. You know how many games they could have lost? 7 of the 10 that they won. So yeah, they got lucky, and they're a good football team. Nobody's saying Pittsburgh isn't a good football team. That is not what I am arguing about. But the fact is, they're still flawed. Okay, against Washington, T.J. Watt, 0 hits, 0 tackles.
No, he had 2 hits at the end.
Oh, sorry, 2 hits. Okay, defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year, baby.
Hey, he's being triple teamed. But ideally,
hey, you said it didn't count when it was Myles Garrett last year. He should be effective.
Hey, listen. All I can tell you is that it's Baltimore week, and we'll get to that later.
All right, so there you go, Nick. That's what I like to see.
Nick, I see Kyler Murray MVP.
Let Jay know. Jay, I was trying to cover another team. This Pittsburgh guy kept talking about how great they were.
But okay, I'm
Okay.
going to give.
Well, I'm going to take Jade's advice. I'm going to start muting y'all.
Give credit where credit's due, though. Washington is for real. Washington is a good team. They're exceeding the expectation that anybody had for them this year, and they are coming together. And once Marshawn Lattimore can come back from his hamstring injury and be effective on that field, I think that defense only gets better. So hats off to Washington. They played a good game, came up a little short. Zach Ertz a half inch one way or another, and the fact that they spotted the ball a whole yard behind where he actually caught the ball from. They did. He had his knee on the 41. They had it on the 42. Doesn't make much. And he's sitting perpendicular up and down when he caught the ball, and they gave him a whole yard backwards. But be that as it may, Pittsburgh won the game. They came through when they had to. Good on them. Now their schedule gets tough.
You button.
All right, so let's move on here to the last game for last week, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because it's not really worth talking about all that much. But Philly at Dallas, and as I'm watching my Jets get destroyed, Hot Pockets sends me an instant message, and I'm hoping you guys can hear this. Did that come through at all?
No, I couldn't hear it.
Damn it. Oh, well, I'll have to upload it. But anyway, Dallas got absolutely destroyed. I'm surprised anyone on Dallas has a job anymore. This was a complete ass kicking. Philly has shown what they are. Obviously, Texas Stadium has some issues. Does anyone have anything to say about this, or you just want to go into next week's game and start? Because we're going to go right back to Philly.
Sean, go ahead. Let me go, Dave, and then I will let you go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Aaron.
I just would like to say Sean is a really fantastic guy who deserves better football than what he's giving. My picks this year have been completely bad because I've been consistently believing that Sean's guys are going to uplift him, that he's not going to be an alcoholic anymore, and that he's going to love football because his teams are going to come out and play really well, including my Super Bowl pick, the Jets. And they have super let me down, and I'm sorry, Sean. I really thought they would be the one. But I got to say, and this is for the truth of me, outside of when they play Pittsburgh, and I get really nasty because I'm a homer and I love my team. And I'm the one that will admit it. Nobody else will. I do pull for you because you deserve a win. So if Jerry Jones doesn't apologize to you, Aaron Rodgers doesn't apologize to you, I will.
I thank you.
I don't even want to say anything about this game. What I really want to talk about is the future of Dallas, because here's the sad reality. You are never going to get a coach in Dallas, because you are never going to get a coach that doesn't want to be responsible for personnel decisions. And as long as Jerry Jones is in that situation, you will never attract a good coach to that team. Now, everybody started talking about, oh, Dallas should hire Deion Sanders because Micah Parsons came out and threw Mike McCarthy under the bus and so on and so forth. Well, Mike McCarthy's a lame duck coach anyway. The fact that he was rehired, or the fact that he was left on after last year's playoff game, and you want to bring a guy in who knows the Dallas culture and the Dallas way. Well, Jason Garrett knew the Dallas culture and the Dallas way, and look at how that turned out. The fact is, Jerry Jones will never hire anybody who can question or challenge his authority. That's why Jimmy Johnson was gone. That's why they went to Schwartz, or whatever his name is, the guy who replaced Jimmy. The guy who won a Super Bowl, I forget his even freaking name. It's been
Switzer.
Yeah, they went to Switzer, and then Garrett had a job for 10 years because he knew the Dallas culture, and it didn't get Dallas anywhere. So again, I just say, until Jerry Jones wants to release the reins and allow the coach to come in and do what he needs to do to make that team a winner, which Jerry Jones has proven he's not really interested in the winner. He's just interested in making money. You're never going to get a guy who's going to be there, who's going to really have an imprint on the team, except Jerry Jones.
What I don't understand is the Cowboys are easily worth $10 billion.
Sure.
They are the most valuable team in the league by far.
And that's all Jerry cares about.
Yeah. But why doesn't he just sell the team? I mean, why? You're 82 years old. Man, I'll take that money. So
Sure.
Anyway, so does anyone else want to talk about this game, or we're going to move on to games coming up this week? Okay, games coming up this week. So we're going to go right back to Philly because we got Washington at Philly, and this is Thursday night. So this is 2 nights from tonight, and this is going to be huge for obviously the NFC East, but this is going to be a heck of a game, hopefully. David, your thoughts?
I'm hoping Marshawn Lattimore didn't practice again, which doesn't bode well for him playing Thursday. And I think that's a shame. You make the trade for the guy and he hasn't made the lineup in this will be 3 weeks now. And you wanted the guy to shore up your secondary. And against a team like Philly, you're going to need that. Because if Saquon Barkley gets moving on the ground, your play action game opens up. And you need a stronger secondary. Like I said, I love what Washington's doing. I love how they're playing. I love how they, and Brian Robinson's out for Washington too, which is also going to be a key to that game. So again, I think Washington's going to have a challenge, and they are playing in Philly, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a challenge in itself, just to go on the road, especially coming up short against Pittsburgh. But again, these are division games, and I think these guys will be up for it. And I think it's going to be a great game, both sides of the ball. I think Jalen Hurts has been playing better the last couple of weeks. Having AJ Brown back in the lineup and Devontae Smith being healthy, I think that's helped him a lot. It's allowed Saquon Barkley to, have a little more room to run. So I think it's going to be it's going to be a really exciting game, I think, for Thursday night for a change.
Well, last Thursday night's game was great. I mean, except for the triple face mask all in the one frame there at the end of the game. But so let's go, KD. Washington, Philly. What are your feelings?
I like this because Philly's has gotten healthy over the last couple of weeks, and Washington has fought through some adversity. So this is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a preview of the NFC Championship. To be honest with you, because if Detroit plays the way they played in one of the games in the playoffs, I don't think they rebound playing against one of these other teams. I do think Philly run game is probably going to be the key, though. It's going to be the key to everything. Because if you sit back there and just try to pass it and throw it around the yard, Washington is not super great in the pass defense, but they will definitely pick you off with Jeremy Chin and company because of the pass rush that they can generate. So not saying that Philly can't do it. I just think they put themselves in a situation to where, hey, okay, Washington can sneak up on them if they're not able to run the ball effectively. So,
all right, Eric.
I like how you mentioned that triple face mask. You talk about weighty moments and being helped out all the time. I mean, that was a great Thursday night game, was it not? That might have been the Thursday night game of the year. It's too bad we got an ending that way. But ideally, and I agree, Nick. I kind of like the Cardinals to make a run at the NFC Championship. By the way, I mean Kyler Murray MVP, Cardinals, Steelers. I mean, I'm feeling it. But ideally, here's the thing: the Washington run game is going to be the key because they've got to come on the road and they've got to be able to keep the explosive offense in Philadelphia off the field. And so, in a very similar fashion to what Baltimore has to do and avoid, Russell Wilson throwing it around the yard, you got to worry about, that happening here to, so you've got to, I think they got to run the ball. I think they got to control the clock and not let Jalen Hurts kind of throw it around the yard. And I think they have a good complementary running back. Let's see if Robinson can get back. Eckler, short passes to kind of get 3-4 yards, manageable situations for Jay Daniels. They'll have a chance. But I'm kind of with Nick. I'm feeling the Cardinals. It's a good comment. And I think, right now in a playoff situation, they could get really hot. And we could get a Cardinals-Eagles Super Bowl.
I'm just want to ask real quick.
Oh, God.
If Jeffrey hacked Nick Gilbert's account and is trolling us on the side with these comments.
I'm thinking about it because, Nick's dragging it. I like it. But that's good. That's what we want from you all. Keep giving us shit. Okay, so here, David, you are not allowed to talk during this next one because you're going to have to talk about the following one. And because I know this one is going to go back and forth for a couple of minutes. So we're going to go with KD, who is the visiting team. And then second, we're going to go to Eric, who is the home team. And just like in a political debate, we're going to allow KD to rebut. After that, then we will stop it. But the second best game of the week, the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Take it away, KD.
It's two things for me. Fake big playability on their passing game and no turnovers. So we're good.
Eric?
It'll come down. They're not going to be good. So here's what it'll come down to. They'll have to run the ball, and for the Ravens, ideally, Landon Roberts and you'll even see some Mark Robinson, just as they've done similar years. They're going to go run heavy, and Lamar's going to have to beat them throwing the ball, and that's been the case for years and years and years. And what has happened is Lamar's not been able to close the deal from winning in the pocket, and he's going to have to. They're not going to let Henry run all over the yard. They'll shut. The run game will not be the difference in the game, and it'll come down to Lamar making the throws in critical times. Pittsburgh is going to score points. The Ravens are giving up 28 points a game. They're going to get scored on again. Ideally, they're last against the pass in the league. They are last, 32nd, the bottom of the league. If they give up more than 24 points, they will lose. If they can keep the game and their defense can actually come and play old traditional Ravens football, they can win 23-20 in that similar circumstance, but they will not win allowing more than 24 points because the Steelers defense will ideally will probably keep the game under control and will make enough stops and they'll get turnovers. And, ideally, like they have against Lamar every time, Tomlin knows how to coach against him. So what it'll come down to is Lamar from the pocket being able to get to his second or third read. And if he can't, if he's one reading out, I don't know if he makes it out of the game. So ideally, Derrick Henry is not going to run the ball, and it'll be an interesting. Look at this guy.
Hey, with your stat. I
think it's going to be. They're fast. That defense is fast. Deshaun Elliott, Patrick Queen. These guys are fast.
No, we'll talk about Green Bay before we go, Jay. I'll get Green Bay in there, but listen. I just want you. Well, I'm talking for a second. I just want you to do me a favor. I want you to look up Derrick Henry's stats against Pittsburgh and Tennessee when he played for the Titans.
I will. He had 15 carries.
Go ahead and tell me how he fared, because this is the thing. But this is what I'm going to say about. This is what I'm going to say about this game. Okay, and you can talk about all your Lamar Jackson in the pocket. Lamar Jackson isn't going to be in the pocket. And here's the good thing about it. Lamar Jackson has evolved as a quarterback, because the thing that's so good about Baltimore, which I love about Baltimore, is not only in Pittsburgh are you going to have to be honest with the run game, with Lamar or with Derrick Henry, Justice Hill. Okay, you're going to have to be playing the pass. And basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be telling Joey Porter Jr. and the other guys back there that they're going to need 3 or 4 seconds to cover Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, those guys, Deontay Johnson, okay, without taking penalties, without doing that, because Lamar Jackson, what he does is he finds the time and he gets these guys open in space in a zone type of defense that they have to play. And that's what Lamar has really evolved at and has become a much better passing quarterback in the last year and a half.
Sean, it's supposed to be KD rebuttaling, but then Chris Wallace, the moderator, cheated, and now it's everybody against Eric again.
No.
So I want to answer that Derrick Henry question for Mr. Chris Wallace up there in the top corner. In 3 games, he has 182 yards. His last game was 7 for 32. He had 20 for 75 and 17 for 75. There's
all right, which is about what Najee Harris does on a weekly basis.
All right, KD, you may have your last little bit, and then I'm gonna mute David for the KC Buffalo discussion, just because he needs to be penalized. He needs to be taught a lesson.
No, I don't.
I'm good. I don't need a rebuttal. I know the history. The fact that we're sitting here as if, hey, Baltimore has been blown out in these 1-7 games. That's what's funny to me. It's hilarious. It's like as you was not sitting there eating your fingernails as they happen, but it's okay.
All right. So, before we go to KC Buffalo, Jay brought up a point that we're AFC heavy, and we don't mean to be, but just unfortunately, it's the better division to talk about right now. But let's go because he is a Green Bay fan. So Green Bay and Chicago.
Oh, I thought they were playing somebody good.
I know. I was like, how do you discuss this?
No, you know what? I'll be honest with you. This game could be a trap game for Green Bay. And I say that, and I just say that because with all the upheaval that's going on in Chicago right now, Green Bay is definitely more of the talented team, obviously across the board, and it is a rivalry game. But the rivalry has been taken off. The luster of the rivalry has diminished. It's kind of like a Buffalo-New England rivalry. That's gone, or Buffalo-Miami. But the fact is, it is a rivalry game. And I will say it's going to be interesting because Green Bay should easily handle Chicago based on the talent on both sides of the ball, based on what's going on in Chicago with their coaching staff and everything, what Caleb Williams has shown the last 3 weeks since he's been off bye. He actually had momentum going into the bye, and I think that bye came at the wrong time and really stopped any momentum that Caleb Williams was developing. So, again, I do think it's going to be a good game. It's a division game. Division games are always a different animal. But I believe the talent is going to be too much on Green Bay's side of the ball. But I do think it's going to be a good game.
All right.
We were supposed to punish Dave, and then we gave Dave 20 minutes to talk about the Packers and Bears. You must run the show. You must own the show, don't you, Dave?
I don't own the show. I'm just making up for Jeffrey not being here.
I know. Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
gonna
Well,
take-
you know what? We've talked about enough about the NFC. We're going back to the AFC. So here we go. You know, I actually wanted to go to something else before this game, but
Go ahead.
I won't.
Go ahead.
Okay, hang on here for a second here. Let's get down to
Sean's idiot coaching decisions of the week.
What an idiot! That's the stupidest combination I ever heard in my life!
What are you, ignorant?
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
One of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point could be considered a rational thought.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You are a fucking idiot.
all right. So we're going to start off with the flea flicker the Giants tried to run in Germany. And yes, we are still punishing Germany for World War II, for sending them, the Giants and the Panthers. But did anyone see this play? Because it was painful to watch. I'm like, he had two open receivers. I don't understand how do you take a sack on that? Throw it away.
Again, I think it's the idiot player, not the idiot play. Play was fine. The player was stupid.
Yeah, but if you have Daniel Jones, are you really? Why are you putting that kind of faith in him? What has he proven? He's proven that he can't throw a touchdown. I mean, he can run the ball in from the 2-yard line. He could do that.
I kind of agree with Dave because I think Dayball is a genius play caller, and I've happened to I like Brian Dayball. So obviously,
You look like him.
Maybe I do, but the Bills got as far as they got with Brian Dayball. He was the one that was in command. But here's the deal: Dayball does not have any tools to work with outside of elite neighbors, and that's the problem. So I'm with you, Sean. You can't trust Jones to do anything.
I disagree with that.
All right, KD, got nothing? Or?
I disagree wholeheartedly. Say he has nothing to work with, but whatever. We're gonna leave that for another day. The issue was, it seems like it was uncertainty with Daniel Jones on the play call. It's like the running back got the ball and said, "Hey, wait a minute, flea flicker," and threw it back to him, and then he was like, "Oh, I don't know what the routes are on this fucking flea flicker," because that's what it looked like. Because what we seen at home is two guys running over, one guy running an over route and the other guy running kind of like a crosser, basically going up the field. You could have hit either one of those guys. I could almost imagine 3 out of the 4 of us could make that throw. Probably not a bullet, but we can make that throw across the field, and that ball can fall right into the receiver's hands, or they run underneath it, or whatever it may be. So I don't know what went on with his decision-making there, but he has to be more in tune with what the games are and what the plays are being called and what the intentions of those plays are. Because that wasn't the only one. There was a couple other ones that he had checkdowns and he didn't take the checkdowns and he threw errant throws down the middle of the field. So he can't continue to do that, especially if you know what your division is. You need to win as much games as you can because you need to get that wild card. If you don't get that wild card, if you don't get close to 500, you're not going to win a wild card spot. You're not going to earn a wild card spot in the NFC. So,
all right. Number 2, and this one I didn't think was a bad coaching decision, but Eric said, yeah, it was. But the Pittsburgh fake punt, that guy was wide open. And 4 out of 4 of us could have made that throw. And it wasn't the throw that was bad. It was just the receiver couldn't catch the damn ball.
James,
there was no one within 15 yards of him.
I think the only thing that makes it the only thing that makes it a bad decision, I guess,
it didn't work.
Is where they were on the field. Otherwise, it was the right call. I mean, the guy wasn't even covered. The guy could have caught the ball and probably ran 50 yards before anybody even got close.
Okay, listen, I am expert on all things Steelers. So here's the problem. They were in a defense where both sides were open. So the punter, what made it bad was Ben Skoranek, who's a wide receiver, is wide open on the other side. he is wide open on the other side. But he threw to James Pierre, who was a corner. And so ideally, I know that he may be right-handed and it makes just more sense to throw to the right. But if he threw to the left, Skoranek was wide open too. And he's actually a wide receiver. But what I don't like is, like, at that time, the defense was playing really well and Pittsburgh was kind of taking it to Washington. Like, you're risking momentum. Just punt the ball early on. I don't like it at that early, and I don't like it when you have momentum. If you don't have momentum, like years ago, I think Pittsburgh got beat in Baltimore. They did something similar with Josh Miller and Chris Hope in a game they got beat in Baltimore where Chris Hope scored an 86-yard touchdown. I think it was like 2000. It was right before Roethlisberger. It was right before the ascension of the great Steelers. It was, I think, 2003 in the Maddox years. But ideally, at that point, they didn't have momentum. They needed to trick Baltimore to score. Pittsburgh did need to trick Washington to score, especially that early. Don't fool with momentum. Bad coaching decision.
All right, Katie, any thoughts on this, or you want to pass?
Definitely not a bad decision. There's an element of surprise. They had the element of surprise. You didn't think they were going to do it. Bad execution.
All right. So the last game we're going to talk about, I almost skipped it. Kansas City at Buffalo. Now, the Jets got flexed out of the Sunday night game, and so they put in the Chargers and Cincinnati at the Chargers. And everyone wanted to see Kansas City Buffalo. But, of course, if I am working for CBS, I'm like, screw you. Everyone in America is going to be watching that game. So, David, take it away. What are your feelings?
Well, I mean, look at the fact is, Buffalo's banged up, obviously. Keon Coleman's out. Dalton Kincaid got injured, hurt his knee, had to leave the game last week. This is going to be a good game. I mean, Buffalo and Kansas City. Buffalo's won the last 3 times they played them in the regular season. So again, from a moral standpoint, to be able to beat Kansas City and get one game closer to the number 1 overall seed would be nice. But again, I think it's a great game to watch. I think it's a great, I guess, regular season measuring stick to find out where you're at. But my take on the game is more like, okay, it's a regular season game. It's not going to kill us one way or the other, because if we lose, we're still 4 games up in the division. I'd rather beat them when it counts in the playoffs. And again, but I will also say, like I stated, Kansas City has not been playing like world beaters. They are a 10-0 team. You can shake your head, Eric, but I'll go through every Kansas City game, and every game has been within 6 points. It's not like the Kansas Cities are going out and killing these teams. My point is, Buffalo scored over 30 points in 7 of their 10 games. They lost 2 and they won 1 of the games they didn't score over 30 points. So the reality is, more often than not, if Buffalo can score 30 points, they'll win. If they don't score 30 points, it's going to be they got a 66% chance of losing. So again, it just depends on how Buffalo comes out and executes. I will say playing at home gives Buffalo a little advantage, at least in the regular season. Playoffs is a different animal. But again, I don't think it's going to make the season one way or another. So I think it's going to be a good game regardless. These 2 teams always play each other tough. That's just the truth. So
hey, Katie, I thought it was really funny. You and I were sitting there bullshitting about IU and Alabama because the college football playoff just got released. And I was sitting there reacting to some of our comments, and he gets mad at me, even when I'm not even doing anything.
You're just shaking your head at me like,
don't take your damn head, Eric.
I know what you're doing.
We were talking about something totally different. But I mean,
I'm not paying attention to the chat. So
you never do, because multitasking and technology is not a Loddick thing.
I
And we
know.
learned that with Jeff. But I mean, ideally, and you still have Liddell from 1998. I mean,
Shut up.
part of the problem. That's why Sean is controlling everything now. By
I
the way,
thought you were supposed to buy me one for Christmas.
it's going much better. Hey, I'm raising change. I got $4.47 over here, so we're almost there.
Put it on.
Dave's still trying to figure out the Y2K thing, so don't worry about it.
But listen, here's the deal. Dave's
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was afraid to update my computer. I thought they were going to I haven't updated it since 2000.
Oh my God! Can you imagine all the porn? I'm sorry.
I'm still running Windows 7.
I just don't even want to know. LimeWire and all the bad things that are probably on that 1999 computer. So I can't. We're supposed to be talking about Buffalo, and I can't even talk about Buffalo because I'm just Dave. But listen, you're absolutely right. You got to score 30 points, and if it's a low scoring game, Kansas City in a close game, if it relies on weighty moments, I mean, you got to put Kansas City away. You got to win by. You got to stop them because if it comes down to weighty moments, who do I trust? Josh Allen or Patrick?
Oh, in the regular season, they've won close games.
In weighty
moments. In the regular season, if this was a playoff game, I'd probably agree with you more. But in the regular season, during the close games, they've won. So it's a different animal. So that's why I just say you can talk about weighty moments in the playoffs. If it gets to Buffalo and Kansas City again, I will listen more to your weighty moment argument.
Sean, if we have to come in here on January 21st and talk about Kansas City and Buffalo in a playoff game to determine who's going to the Super Bowl, I don't know if I'll be around. That'll be really hard for me.
As long as there's 12 seconds or less on the clock, they got a shot.
Well, hey, as long as we won't be talking about Pittsburgh in any of that conversation, so that's cool.
KD, what are your thoughts on the KC Buffalo game?
I'm gonna say the same thing I've been saying about Buffalo since I've been on this doggone show. What are going to be the compliments to Josh Allen to where he does not have to be Superman? If you can give him a run game to where he's not the leading rusher, if you can give him a person that's going to move the yard marker with those intermediate throws, we're cooking with something. The next part of it is, hey, okay, look, we have to basically get Kansas City off the field when we need to get them off the field and then play keep away as much as they can. I don't agree with the 30-point thing because if you can keep them off the field and you do what you need to do, you can go down and put together a solid drive or solid game, and the score can end up being 20-15. You know, I believe Buffalo can win that type of game. What can't happen, though, is you give Kansas City exactly what I'm talking about giving Josh Allen. You start to give compliments, meaning Kansas City gets their run game going. You start to let their defense get turnovers or pick sixes or scooping scores. Those things take pressure off of the offense, especially if they don't have Xavier Worthy, which doesn't look like they're going to have him this year. If they don't have Xavier Worthy, I think this bodes well for Buffalo because again, DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not worried too much about him. But I don't see him just going and blowing the doors off of Buffalo by himself. I just don't see that. And then I just think again they could do what they need to do with harnessing Travis Kelce's impact and whatnot. The defense is what's going to really let me know, like, hey, if Buffalo is ready to play and win this game all together. So,
all right. Well, it's going to be a fantastic game. I know that will probably be the most watched game of the week. Oh, God, here we go. So here was the results of last week's Pick'em. Jeff was 8-6. David was 12-2. KD was 9-5. Eric was 5-9. And I was 8-6. So right now, KD is still winning the total. He took it back from me this week, or we were tied. So he went up a game, 99-53. But look, everyone, even Hot Pockets is 97-55.
Sean,
yeah.
So Nick missed last week, and we're sorry about that, Nick. Definitely get your picks in this week because, again, whoever wins gets from the Couch Sports Talk T-shirt if they beat Dave. And in 2 weeks, they haven't beat me. So keep it going. Whenever I have to give out free shit, I'm winning. So, yes, you just keep on picking against me.
Well, David, I have to say it has spurred you because you were not doing well. And now all of a sudden you had 2 back-to-back weeks that you
3
just
games out.
crushed it. Yeah, and the week before you were 12-3. So here we go. Let's take this down and let's go through our picks. We're going to start with David and we're going to go round robin. Washington at Philly. David, who you got?
Oh, man. No, Mike, you didn't beat me in the last 2 weeks. Man, no. This is tough, man. This is going to be a good game. Philly's at home. I'm going to take Philly, but it's going to be close. It's going to be it's an NFC division game. I just think Philly has a little bit more horses, so I'm going to take Philly, but it's close.
All right. KD?
Give me Philly. I think their defense is starting to hum around. So yeah, give me Philly.
Okay, and Eric?
They both took Philadelphia?
They did.
Okay, I'm behind. I'm taking Washington.
Oh, you're just killing yourself, man. It's going to be a couple of games you could pull out. Okay, I am also going Philly, and Nick and Hot Pockets. Well, Nick's going to go Washington, and Hot Pockets is going Philly. Just a quick note. We rarely get blanked on games. But, last week the New Orleans game blanked us all. The week before, the only games David lost was all 3 that everyone got blanked. Okay, so now we're going to go KD. Green Bay at Chicago.
Give me Green Bay. I think Chicago is still trying to figure some stuff out. Who's going to do what? How do they make the game easier for Caleb? I think Green Bay takes full advantage of that.
All right. Eric?
I'm going Green Bay, but I'm not super comfortable with it.
All right. I am going Green Bay. David?
Well, considering that probably a quarter of the team tried to throw Caleb Williams under the bus and wanted him benched as opposed to their offensive coordinator fired, either he comes out with the chip on his shoulder or he plays exactly the way he's continued to play. Either way, I'm taking Green Bay. I just don't think Chicago's good enough offensively.
All right. Eric, we got Jacksonville at Detroit.
Did you get Nick and Mike?
I tell you, I'd have some balls to take Jacksonville, wouldn't I? But I'm not going to.
You got balls. I mean, you got balls. Because you're a dumbass, don't mean you got balls.
Yeah, go ahead, Mac Jones.
All right.
I've already said what I'm going to pick.
All right. Nick and Hot Pockets both picked Green Bay. I am also going Detroit in this one. David?
Detroit.
KD?
Don't even ask me. I'm not on that Eric water.
Yeah. Mike and Nick both have Detroit.
All right. Wow, this game great to me. Ooh, I really wish I wasn't going first on this one. Minnesota at Tennessee. Minnesota's looked like shit lately. Like they just kind of collapse. I can't. But Tennessee's starting Levi's, right? Oh, I'm gonna have to go Minnesota, but I could totally see Tennessee kicking their ass.
As bad as Minnesota's playing, Tennessee's worse. So I'm taking Minnesota.
Okay. And Kitty?
Tennessee has a great defense, believe it or not. I'm going to say it's a struggle game, but I think Minnesota's going to pull it out. So,
okay. Eric?
winning ugly is beautiful when you can do it and get away with it. So give me the Vikings.
And
Okay.
Mike and Nick both took Minnesota.
Yep. All right, David, to you. The Raiders at Miami.
Man, if the Raiders even had a semblance of a quarterback, it would be a. But Miami's defense looked stellar last night. They were freaking all over the place. I'm taking Miami. They look good. I'm taking Miami.
KD?
Oh man, even though I don't, because even though Miami defense looks stellar, Tua only threw one touchdown.
Yeah.
So,
But their Miami's defense was all over.
Yeah, I'm with that. It's just like, my gosh.
You did hear me. The Raiders are playing in Miami, right?
Yes, I understand that, and that's the type of game the Raiders will stand up for. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go Raiders. I'm gonna go Raiders on this one.
Ooh.
Eric.
I'm happy that Calais Campbell is still a Miami Dolphin because he would have made a difference. Because that dude was balling last night. And by the way, that was a horrible, horrible Monday night game. Like, I think I turned it on and they gave each other the ball back and forth like 3 times. And I was like, was this Pee-wee football? I mean, it was terrible ball security. So, and not to call anybody out, but I'm not impressed by Tua. So, I'm going to go Raiders.
All right. I will be going Miami, and Nick and Paoli are both going Miami also. All right. So, KD, Rams at New England.
New England's coming off an emotional high. They got a good win. I'm going Rams though. I think the Rams are starting to click. So, and then they're actually pissed off by what just happened. So, I'm going Rams.
All right, Eric.
The funny thing about my predictions is eventually you start to see the results of what I say happen. And so with New England,
they're 3-6. The fruits of my labor are paying off.
They could easily be 4-5. They almost pulled it off the week before.
Hypothetically,
I think Drake May is going to be a good quarterback. I think he's on his way, and I think like New England in the next few years will probably win the division here the next couple of years.
I don't disagree that they're going to be better.
I think they're coming. So I'm going to go New England, and I'm going to say Drake May has a come out game or as his coming out. And I'm going to go New England 34-20.
Oof. This is a toughie.
Wow.
Because David took New England last week, and I almost took New England last week, but I talked myself out of it. But the Rams, oh God, if they play anything like they did, I still got to go for the Rams. I think they're the better team. I don't like them traveling, being outside, or playing at 1 p.m. But it is what it is.
Yeah, New England.
All right. And both Paoli and Nick have the Rams. I
have the Rams too. I didn't get the pick because Katie picked that one first.
Oh, I apologize.
But that's all right. I'm taking the Rams. They're pissed off. They got shellacked and had to settle for field goals. Not this week. Not against me.
All right, Eric. Cleveland at New Orleans.
Oh boy. So New Orleans played better last week, and I think Buffalo made a big mistake letting that MBS go because he looks like he could potentially be quite the weapon on a team that needs a big downfield weapon like he's becoming. So good on MBS. I was really happy to see that for that guy after being so poorly mistreated. So what I will say is ideally Cleveland, I don't trust them. Jameis Winston had one good game against the worst defense in the NFL. So I believe what's going to happen is I think I got New Orleans.
Okay. Oh God, this is tough. No Olave, but is what it is. Superdome's tough place to play. I'm gonna go for New Orleans.
Yeah, MVS is a great story. Caught 3 passes, but the problem is when you need MVS is when he lets you down more than anything. I mean, if you look at his career, he's dropped more than he's caught in big moments. Cleveland's coming off their bye. Jameis Winston's had more time in the offense with the starters. And New Orleans is banged up. I'm going to take Cleveland in this one. No weather, no elements.
All right, KD.
I think the loss of JOK is going to be big for Cleveland Browns defense. But they don't have a run. They don't have a guy that's going to just be fed the ball. I don't think they're going to feed it to Kamara like that. So give me the Saints.
All right. And okay, Nick's got the Browns. We have not heard from Paoli yet. All right, to me, Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Frick. I'm going to go with the home team, Pittsburgh. David.
This is where Russell Wilson and the Steelers run out of luck. I just think Baltimore offensively, I think with the running game that they have and the fact that it gives Lamar Jackson time to find the wide open receiver, which he's done better, so much better this year. And Zay Flowers finds a way to get open. Rashad Bateman is becoming that dependable receiver. I think Deontay Johnson going back to Pittsburgh is going to be a little bit of in your face to the Steelers organization. And because of that and being a division game, I just think Baltimore just has a little bit too much for Pittsburgh.
All right. KD. I know you shouldn't even ask this, but
I'm going Ravens.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
So what's really funny to me is Dave's picks the last 3 weeks of all those great games that great record he's gone. If you look, he's picked against Pittsburgh all 3 weeks. And so his record would be almost immaculate if he actually would pick the Steelers every once in a while. What was your record last week, Dave?
12-2.
Yeah, you'd be 13-1 had you picked Pittsburgh. So, I mean, here's the deal. This will be the week where I've been saying for weeks and weeks that you have to be balanced. The Baltimore is the better offense, without a doubt, has the stars, has the bigger names, but they are not balanced because they are the worst defense in football. And they're going right now 32nd against the pass, going against a quarterback who is ideally, since he's come in averaging close to 300 yards a game, he's averaging 260 with a couple touchdowns a game. He's got 6 touchdowns in 3 games, so 2 a game. So if Jameis Winston was able to expose that, if everybody is able to expose that, Burrow in 2 games has almost 1,000 yards against Baltimore. Okay, so here's the deal. I think Pittsburgh's able to score, and I think they're able to make enough stops to win. They're not going to stop them all the time. Baltimore's going to score, but they are the better defense on the back end, better defense on the front end. And so I trust the more balanced team to win. I've got Pittsburgh, probably a close one. It's always going to be close. I got Pittsburgh 30-24, something like that.
All right. Nick also picked the Ravens. KD, you look like the guy who is in marriage counseling and like whoever has the egg could talk, but you never get the egg. Like you look like you're clinically depressed. So
because I hear all this balanced crap, and the dude threw for 195, 3 touchdowns and an interception.
Your defense
lost the turnover battle, but because Washington was lethargic on offense, that's the reason why you won.
But your defense stinks. I mean, you're talking about. You've got a couple great star players on offense, and your defense is not good.
Hey, didn't you guys lose what's his name too?
I think Kyle Hamilton may be out.
No, Pittsburgh. Who's your linebacker?
Preston's out for 2 weeks, but Preston Smith came in. It's a good trade, good timing.
Sure.
But I think Hamilton's out.
How is Hamilton out? What are you talking about?
I'm pretty sure I just read he's not. He is questionable to doubtful.
What are you talking about?
All
You're
right.
talking about something that happened in the Broncos game, bud. He played already. What are you talking about?
Okay. So, David, to you, Atlanta at Denver. And this is an afternoon game.
I'm taking Denver. Denver's defense is good. And Bo Nix and that offense proved that they can hang with the 10-0 Kansas City Chiefs, and their defense is good. I'm taking Denver.
All right, KD.
Again, this is one of those situations where they don't rely on the run game. And I'm going to take Atlanta because they're going to play right into their secondary's hand. Jesse Bates is quietly having one of the great seasons that he's had in a long time. So,
Eric.
This is at Denver, Atlanta
At Denver.
Yeah. So I'm going to go. Everybody picked Atlanta. I'm going to go Denver because I need to.
I took Denver.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Who's in first place right now? Sean, are you?
No, KD's in first by a game.
Okay, and I've got Katie so flustered that I was being the Matthew Barnaby of the show. I credit to you. I was agitating, which I love to do. But so ideally, I'm going to go Denver because I think Denver's got the better defense and it's at Mile High, and that makes a difference. And Denver.
Is there going to be snow in Mile High this weekend?
Ask KD. He's been.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Damn it. That would have even been better.
All right. I'm gonna go Denver in this one. I think they're the better team. I think their defense. And Atlanta has been doing good, but Bo's doing some special stuff out there. Okay.
So next 4-yard out with no timeouts left?
Yeah, something like that. KD, Seattle at San Francisco.
Oh man, Seattle has not looked good at all. My goodness.
Is Metcalf coming back this week?
Their offensive line has took some injuries, and they have yet to get it right. They're almost in the same situation as the Bears when it comes down to getting some production. So I'm going 49ers.
Okay, Eric.
Yeah, I want to go Seattle, but my record being so bad is for two things. I want Sean's teams to win all the time, and I want Geno Smith to win so much because when Dave or Jeff comes back, I want to spend a half hour talking about Geno Smith on the show with him. So I keep rooting very hard for Geno, but his team's just not very good. So I got the Niners.
All right. I got the Niners because I think that the receivers from the San Francisco 49ers dragged poor little Mr. Moody outside and beat the fuck out of him. And either he will be hurt so he cannot kick, or he's going to be so afraid to miss a kick, he's going to perform. David?
Where are they playing? Frisco or Seattle?
Frisco.
Man, I don't know, man. The NFC West games. The NFC West games are always so tough because these teams play each other and they play them well. I mean, Sean, you remember when Arizona was bad? I mean, when they were really bad, and they would go and they would beat San Francisco, who was like 9-1, and Arizona was 2-8 or whatever, and
right.
Arizona would go in and kick their ass just because. This is tough, and I'm telling you, I think Jake Mooney's still hurt with this high ankle sprain. That's why he's having issues, and I think he'll get hurt even more when Deebo Samuel finally just chokes him right out. I'm taking Seattle by a field goal. I'm going to take Seattle. I just these teams play each other tough, and if DK Metcalf comes back this week, it'll change the offense a little bit too.
All right. So let's see. That last one was to KD to start off. Eric starting off this one. Kansas City at Buffalo.
Okay. So just so we're all ready here, Dave, I've been thinking hard about this game. Super hard. A couple things have me concerned. The bad Josh Allen, even though Joe Flacco was even worse, came out last week with the turnovers, throwing some interceptions. They're fortunate that Flacco gave points away because that game should have been closer based on how that was going to go on. So does Allen fix the bad Allen that came out in that Indianapolis game? I'm going to go, I think Kansas City, and I think Kansas City's going to be super motivated because everybody's like, oh, they're not playing well. They're getting lucky. That effort on that from the Couch Sports Talk Radio called them lucky. All these things that they've been hearing, I think is going to motivate them. So I think Kansas City actually has an offensive explosion, and I've got them winning 31-22.
Nobody keeps track of your scores, dude. You keep saying them. I don't write them down or nothing. So I'm not going to go through an hour and a half.
I will remember them when I'm right, and I'll be like, Dave, you remember when I called it 31-22?
You know, Bailey go through an hour and a half worth of film just to get this one thing.
Hey, I go through hours of his film for his Huddle account. The least he can do is go through mine.
All righty. I'm going to go Buffalo in this one. Buffalo tends to beat them in the regular season, and then when it gets to the playoffs, goes down like a $5 horror on payday. So I think Josh Allen's gonna win this, and there you go. And Nick's got KC. Nick, I have all your picks: KC, Frisco, Atlanta, Baltimore. So we're good. David, on to you.
I've been thinking about this game too, Eric, and I'm not as pro Buffalo as you think I am. I try to be, Buffalo does have Kansas City's number in the regular season. And Amari Cooper, I think he'll be back this week. So that'll lessen the sting of not having Keon Coleman. And KD, you said, is Xavier Worthy's not playing this week? So,
he's listed as doubtful right now. So.
Okay. The biggest thing that scares me about this game is that they've activated Isaiah Pacheco from IR. Now, I don't know if he's going to play this week or not, but when you have Pacheco and you have Kareem Hunt in that backfield, that could be a bad night for anybody defensively, just because they're both gifted and they both have different talents and can do different things. I do believe that Buffalo finds a way to win this game, but I will agree with you, Eric, in the fact that last week, without Cooper and without Coleman, you saw Josh Allen trying to be Superman, and he threw 2 interceptions. One of them was really bad. The out route that he tried to throw, that was a bad one. The first one wasn't as bad, but it was still an interception. But the out route was bad. I mean, that was just telegraphed. But he was just trying to make a play. Kansas City's defense is like top 3 in the league, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So they have a good defense. But I think Buffalo does beat them because they're at home and it is the regular season. If it was the playoffs, I would give you a different outcome. But I will take Buffalo at home in the regular season.
Xavier Worthy is not out. He's still scheduled to play. His health, he is fine.
Is Juju healthy?
Oh, Juju, I think, is out.
Juju's out. Yeah, Xavier is not. He was just a dud. But anyway. So, KD, who you got, Kansas City or Buffalo?
I'm going to go Buffalo on this one. I think for whatever reason, I think Buffalo rises to the occasion to set up the playoffs. The matchup will be that much sweeter because we're already talking about the bad blood between them and the Ravens. So what better way to rekindle the flame with Buffalo? saying, hey, don't forget about us. So I'm going Buffalo.
All right. So let's see, that last one was to Eric. This one's to me. Cincinnati at LA Chargers.
Did you see Nick got Sean or Nick got Casey?
Yep, I got Nick down. I told Nick I got him everything.
All right.
All right. So Cincy at the Chargers. This one's tough because Cincinnati just cannot buy a win. And the Chargers, I have them in the Cancun room, but they're in the playoffs right now. So Nick's got Cincinnati. I'm going to go to the Chargers on this one. A night game, and at the Chargers, I'm going to do that. David.
Yeah, this is a toss-up game, man. I like Cincinnati. I like what Joe Burrow's doing in the offense. I just don't think the Chargers have enough weapons offensively. They have the running game, and Gus Edwards is back, but I just don't think weapons overall. So I think Cincinnati gets it done on the offensive side.
KD.
Cincinnati's defense hasn't played well either in the secondary. I'm gonna go Chargers with this one.
All right, Eric.
So yeah, Cincinnati has not played very well. And their secondary is not very good. And Katie's an expert on that, so I trust his opinion on that. I will go Chargers, 34-17.
Did you hear that subtle dig he just gave you, Katie?
Oh, I don't care about the dig. I know what he's up to. He's Mike Tomlin and doing his best as he can. But whatever. 34-17 is crazy, but all right, okay.
All right, so David, to you, Indy at the New York Jets at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Wow. Two quarterbacks who probably are going to retire at the end of the season. Indy at the Jets. Wow. I can't believe I even have to think this hard about this game, but both these teams are bad. I mean, they're really bad. I'm taking Indy because the Jets look putrid against Arizona. I mean, they just look uninspired. I'm taking Indy.
All right, KD.
Do I have to pick this game?
I hear you, KD. I'm like, too uninspired. The Jets just are so uninspired. They play for themselves. They don't even play for a team.
Come on, KD. Flacco.
Give me Indy.
All right, Eric.
He couldn't resist the all-time greatest Baltimore quarterback. I knew it was coming. I even said it before he was going to say it. If you guys were listening, so I'm very good. What can I say? So ideally, I love you, Katie. So I'm going, Sean, one more time. I'm going with Jets. You talked me into it. You've let me down every week. You've given me a bad record. You've caused me times.
Bad record.
So this record is all to blame because of your Jets. I have predicted, but there's still hope. If Cincinnati wins, you could be back in the picture with a couple games, even though you stink. But maybe Aaron Rodgers figures it out, and my dreams come true, and I get to come on the show and say I was right. So I'm going the Jets, and I'm going the Jets 34-20.
34. I don't know what the fuck you're smoking because they ain't no 34.
I believe in Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Well, I am going with the Jets on this one, and it drives me crazy. But the thing is, the Jets have a bye next week, and right now, like even players are arguing with fans because they're tired of hearing it. But you're playing like shit, dude. And the New York market, if you're going to play in New York, if you're doing great, we are going to kiss your feet and you won't buy a meal. But if you suck, you're going to hear it and you need to. And if they lose this game, which is entirely possible. This is a 50-50. But they are going to have to sit there for the next 2 weeks and listen to this media and the fans just beat the living shit out of them. If there's anything that can motivate you, that's got to be it. They ain't going to do shit the rest of the year, but this is one game hopefully they'll pull out. And last but not leastly, KD, Houston at Dallas.
Houston is definitely going to come out and play better after they drop that game. So I'm going Houston Texans. Dallas is in total disarray. They should just focus on rebuilding and think about how they're going to get Deion Sanders to be their coach and Shedeur Sanders in the draft.
Well, real quick, yes, Nick, you are correct. Both New York teams suck ass. Canada's team is doing great. So, KD, you are going Houston, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They're New Jersey teams again, Sean. Just so you're.
Hey, and there's nothing wrong with being Canadian. I mean, Sidney Crosby's Canadian.
Well, they're not Canadian.
The idea is that if the Bills, I mean, I'm dead serious. If they would not have drafted Josh Allen and they didn't get them, they'd be in Canada right now. I mean, 100%. They would have gone to Toronto. So you are Josh Allen. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's my turn.
The Pagulas bought them before they drafted Josh Allen or bought the Bills. So
I think if they would have sucked and they were doing pressure because they were already trying to play games in Canada. So here's the deal. This last game. I've lost track. Who are we picking?
Houston at Dallas.
Okay. This is such a bad game to pick that I was like, wow, I can't even believe this is a game. Sean, I will not let your other team ruin my Monday. And I will not get into Josh. Listening to Dave gloat because how good of a record he is because I picked Dallas again. I will not do it. I'm sorry, but I'm going Houston, and I'm going Houston 41-3.
Wow. I'm going to write that score down, actually. 41-3. I am going Houston, and I will take the over on that because I don't think Houston's going to just score 41. I think they're going to do 60. There's no way I'm picking Dallas. I think right now, if Dallas and the Jets, I think that would be probably the worst game in NFL history. So, there's no way I'm picking Dallas to win this game. They're going to get embarrassed. And no offense, but Houston's home stadium should be Jerry Land because they win in Jerry Land all the time, but so does everyone else. David.
Well, my pick is really going to come down to who gets to defend the western side of the field in the second quarter. Because when the sun is setting, oh, wait, no, they're playing at night. The moon doesn't matter. That's right. That's what Jerry says. The moon doesn't matter when we play at night. Unfortunately, Jerry, your days of playing at night are over. So I'm taking Houston.
All right. So there you go. It is complete. And Nick's got Houston. No one is picking Dallas. If that's a game we get blanked on, I'm gonna smack my dick with a tack hammer, man. I just don't know. I don't know how.
Yeah, you got to do it on the show though, just to prove that you did it. No, I don't want to see it.
No, listen. We already talked about how bugged and nasty your old Dell from 1999 is, and then you're encouraging bad behavior on Dave's 1999.
Well, I haven't updated it yet, so I haven't got all the sensors on my computer yet.
Yeah, he's gonna tape it, and then it's gonna be all over LimeWire and Napster. We're screwed.
Yeah, How to Kill an Inchworm by Sean.
Exactly. All right, guys. Listen, I have to go. It is the girlfriend's birthday today. Honey, I love you, and I hope you had a good birthday. And thank you for letting me podcast on your birthday.
Stay on while we go off, though, Sean. I got to ask you a question before you take off.
Okay. KD, I'm going to give you 2 minutes for the last word because you haven't been on in forever. So, Katie, what you got to say, my man?
Contrary to what people like to spew on here, you know, that little rivalry hadn't been as dominant as people like to put it on. Oh yeah, you won the game. Cool. No harm, no foul. You did what you did. However, let's not act like you're undefeated. Let's not act like you've won Super Bowls in the last 10 years. Let's not act like you've done anything of significance. But it's okay. I will allow you to have your Sunday. Have your Sunday, Mr. Yinzer.
All righty. Well, there you go. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. Nick, good luck to you. David will buy you a T-shirt, which just means it comes out of the account that we have. But
only if he beats me.
He's got to beat you. But and Paoli, he's trying. He's he's got the sweatshirt from last year. He already guaranteed the sweatshirt from this year because there's been no picks come in.
I think Sean should buy me a sweatshirt.
I would like to tell you is that in 6 months, in June, I'll be going through Philadelphia and Paoli. If I stop at the Goodwill and I find all our crap at the Goodwill, I'm gonna come find you.
No, man. I will, because he raves about that sweatshirt. You got to admit, Eric, you have a sweatshirt. That thing is comfy as hell, man.
It's great. Yeah, it's great.
Nick, I don't know what games we have different. I'll have Sean post it on our chat, and I'll send you a copy of our picks into your Facebook Messenger, so you have all of our picks, and then you can see which games we have different.
Yeah, once Jeff submits his picks and everyone's in, I take a picture and send it so everyone has evidence of what they picked, and he'll get it over to you. All right, well, thank you all for watching. We appreciate it, and we will see you next week from the couch.